Okay, we're live.
All right, you ready to go? I will
Yes.
call the meeting of the Land Bank Authority to order with our roll call. And we have our two newest members, Terry and Fred. So I think everybody for the meeting has got a chance to talk to, so welcome, guys. Great to have you here, and it's great to get ourselves up to our full, our full board role. So, again, any comments, questions you guys have, come on in. It's great to have you.
Use the best chairs we can get.
I'm just talking to the two new guys. There's not.
Okay.
open comment
Well, this one's good. This one's not so good.
Yeah,
This one you feel like a midget.
yeah, our first meeting in what I think is gonna be our new meeting location.
Yes,
Like
unless
more permanent.
unforeseen circumstances, but yes, this is where we should be.
All right, so I didn't say that roll call, everyone is here except for Charles. Public participation. All right, no comment from the public, so we had a meeting on April 10th, everyone got the meeting minutes from Deb. Is there any comments, questions on the minutes? Not, is there a motion to approve? Motion to approve. Motion been made and seconded, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, any recusals?
I'm going to say, since I was in our board.
All right, executive session, I think is not needed. Financial review of our April financials. Turn that to you.
So the financials were sent to you, for April. There wasn't, any checks to ratify for that month.
So we approved you to sign checks,
And I
and
didn't,
we didn't sign any checks.
yes.
Good work.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you never know when it's
Just like-
needed. So yeah, everything was business as usual.
Okay. Questions on the financials?
The only question I have as a new person, because I don't know how this works yet, is the names, when I was going through the list, some of them don't give names of the individuals that are on the boards or whatever, or own the businesses. Is there, you have all that information, I assume?
On the financials.
Yeah, there was one that was just an address. Just a street address. But that's,
Within the financials?
yeah, one of the ones I guess, it was both, there was a single sheet for it, and then it was also on the chart that I got. And it just had an address.
The demo tracker.
Yeah, I wonder if that's in the demo.
Oh, that might have
Is
been
that-
demolition.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have a demo tracker that shows the projects we, in Land Bank and Demolition Funds, we receive dollars. Essentially anything that's recorded, deeds, mortgages, so forth, we get a percentage of that comes into a demolition fund that we can spend on demolition projects
Okay.
that's tied to redevelopment. We do have a report on that
Yeah.
under old business, and we have, that's our biggest source of activity right now is doing demolition projects. So we can look at that tracker and.
Yeah,
I'll
there
address
might
that.
have been, so there's some municipalities that aren't listed, but the address are listed.
Yeah,
No, it was, it was in Harrisburg somewhere.
Okay. We probably breeze through that faster just because of the,
Okay.
because we've approved the projects and sort of know what they are, but that's a good point that, we can add more descriptive detail into that report very pretty easily.
Yeah.
Street address, location.
The street address is on there, the municipality that it's under, some of them aren't filled in. But we can go back and do that,
Yeah.
for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright.
Okay. The one thing to note on financials is, yesterday, the Board of Commissioners did approve, $125,000 gaming grant for this board as our annual operating award. So that's dollars, non sort of programmatic dollars for everything from consultants to, and put it in the projects, but essentially it's our administrative funding to cover us for the year. That'll then be refunded as soon as we contract and get all in place. All right, with financials, is there a motion to approve the financials for April?
Motion.
Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'm still gonna abstain, since I wasn't here.
Yep. Come on. Yep. All right, under new business, so last month we authorized Autumn to be a signer. George's absence and now, we're looking to remove Autumn, as a signer, and then reappoint George as a signer. Can we take that in one motion, Kevin? Yeah. That too. All right, so any questions on that? What we're doing? All right, is there a motion?
Motion.
All right, motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, under new business, listing agreement for the parcel in Londonderry Township on, Route 230, Harrisburg Pike. I don't know, George, want me to take that? You want to take it?
Good man.
Kevin chime in. I mean, so we have a parcel that we've been partnering with Londonderry Township on. It was the old 230 diner, in Londonderry Township, right by Little's Farm. People remember that property. It has come into significant disrepair, I think, including a fire over the last decade. It was essentially abandoned. The owner disappeared, which of course always causes all some trying to get a property then back to some useful use. So the land bank was able to take possession of it through a process that Kevin worked through. It was
Yeah,
a lot
so
of gymnastics.
Londonderry Township approached us about potentially serving as the conservator for the property under the Pennsylvania Abandoned and Blighted Property Conservatorship Act. So the property was in bankruptcy. Londonderry Township took care of getting it approved in bankruptcy court, and then we were approved in Dauphin County as the conservator for the property. The original intention was to potentially list it. Unfortunately, it took longer than we would have liked. Change of council, change of leadership in Londonderry Township, to get the taxes and liens removed for everyone to sign off on doing that. So we had to go to court to get that done. Once we get that done, now we're here to list the property. We put out an RFP for realtors, been getting responses. So
Yeah, so not necessarily surprising that we didn't get anyone to respond. It's a tricky parcel. And it, if you can imagine that spot now, it has a water course through it. And it's pinned between 230 and the new warehousing that's been on Lytle's Farm. If you've gone through that area recently, quite a bit of development there. So it does have some value to it. George had an appraisal conducted that came back at 90,000. And so that's the listing that we're looking to do, and have it at 90,000, put up for $90,000. And we did find, after a couple of conversations, we did find an agent that was willing to take it, which is D'Angelo Realty. So our effort is just to get it out there, get it listed, and see if we can get it sold. There's been dumping problems on it recently that Londonderry Township functionally is working to take care of. But it's an eyesore. It needs to be redeveloped or turned into something. So this would be our step to at least get it out there, get a sign on it, and hope we can get somebody to purchase the property.
how big is the parcel?
Just out of curiosity.
Oh man, it's like
Yeah, it's not big.
yeah, I don't recall off the top of my head. It was like an acre-ish, acre and a half.
It's right by the restaurant. Warehouse.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Sunset.
Yeah. It's not I mean, location wise, it's a nice parcel. It's small. It does have this water course, stream that goes through that'll have to be addressed. It probably limits some of the usable acreage on it because it's in floodplain.
That corridor, that 230 corridor, it's a busy corridor.
Yeah,
It just never has really been developed.
Yeah.
So it has a lot of potential.
and we've done primarily as redevelopment authority, but we have done a fair number of projects. This one had some twists for the conservatorship, but where a municipality wants to have a parcel sold, and they provided to one of our authorities where we have flexibility to put it out and to attempt to get highest and best use, not necessarily just highest price, but the use that the municipality most wants to see in that location. And with something like this, we always, present and discuss with the municipality before we move forward in any sale. Perfect example of it's Rubber Soul in Hummelstown. That was the old borough building. That was actually a redevelopment authority project where the property was transferred to us from Hummelstown Borough. We RFP'd it a couple times because there were multiple. There was a lot of interest in that one, but we ended up working out. But it seems to be a pretty good use there.
The perfect one was with Frank, that's the works. That was very similar to this one.
Yeah,
because
that's
there were
right.
A lot of issues. We had
Yeah.
bankruptcies, a fire. We had to obtain ownership of all 4 townhomes. Now that was a difficult one. So that was a successful project. We sold that, and I think the housing is great down there, clean up the neighborhood.
Yeah, absolutely.
Most of my living now, this is the first time the first time I've had one of these come up since being work. Do we sell it, or do we have an agreement with Londonderry where we proceed to the sale, or do we get the proceeds back?
This one with the conservatorship.
There is an MOU with Londonderry as to how the proceeds are split.
When the land bank takes possession, when we actually are deeded a property, when that ultimately is sold, we get a portion of the improvement tax revenues. Just remind me what that percent is over 5 years from all the taxing authorities. And when the land bank first was set up, we spent a significant amount of time, I say we, George, spent a significant amount of time going to municipalities, going to school districts and getting MOUs in place so that if we went into a municipality, the deal was already in place on the tax revenue. So we knew that would happen and create that partnership. Not every municipality in Dauphin County has signed on, but you can think of where redevelopment is most needed. In the county, all of those municipalities are in. So.
One of the toughest that I was involved in is our friends in Susquehanna Township. That's the word that they were right.
We're being video, Frank. That's a joke.
Yeah, no, that one that was the first project, right? It's a real big project, that's for us, so. All right, so
What was the tax on that? It was like $600 they were collecting a year for 4 buildings, 4 parcels, as opposed to nothing. So anyway, we got the school district on board. This is just an example. Once we got the school district on board, we had the county and the township proper, and we were able to work in partnership to demolish those buildings. They were horrible. They were drunk paraphernalia in the basement.
Yeah, I remember the buildings. I remember the property.
Yeah, I mean, there were tires and carpets,
400 times, exactly.
400 tires. So anyway, demolished and running some modular units over about a year and a half, 2 years. And then sold them. So that they're now in the tax rolls. They're probably just winding off now, pay full value back to the taxes. So that's the whole idea behind it.
And that street, the Tuscarora Street behind the glass lamp, that was a bad street because the other townhome complex was lighted. And there were tenants in there, but it was really in bad shape. someone bought that complex, renovated, fixed it up, so the street looks great.
Doing the ribbon cutting, people out, putting flagpoles outside on the other side of the street.
Yeah.
So that's the whole idea, is to reinvigorate the neighborhood. So, yeah, that was one of the flagship stories of Lane Bank.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so, any questions on that? And then we have the listing agreement. We have questions on the listing agreement. It's on the par form, standard real estate form. It's a commercial deal, so it's kind of a two-tier commission on it, up 4% if it's a single broker, a 3% kicker on a co-broke, which is pretty standard in commercial real estate, especially on a property that's difficult like this one, pretty low sale price. So hopefully we'll get somebody who'll be voting on an agreement of sales very shortly.
We need to vote on this.
Yeah, yep.
Even if it's for a motion to close an agreement as presented.
Okay, motion's been made, is there a second? All right, been moved and seconded, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, old business. Staff reports on demolition fund.
We, all of that, to us and gave us a $20,000.
It was $20,055 for April, which was the highest in 2025 so far.
It's a good
That's a
sign.
good sign.
The market's
Yeah, people are
coming back a
starting
little
to,
bit.
yeah. It's a very good sign. Okay. Any applications that you want to note, George?
That we don't have any.
No, we do not.
Okay, remind me, what's the unencumbered dollar amount?
Available to fund, we have $424,828.70.
Okay. So just on this, again, just as review for our new members, a couple of years ago, we put a kind of a minimum balance of $250,000, just as a general floor that we wanted to keep in that fund. Now, during that time, we had pretty good demand, but we also had substantial revenues coming in. You can imagine what, the world was like in 21, 22, 23, when there was a lot of real estate activity. That, we were plenty, but we were getting 30 plus, what our high water mark was, but it was pretty substantial every month.
Yeah, the highest that we had was 34,000.
So,
34,000.
and we've got a bunch of projects, but there's nothing that says we can't take that lower when we have good projects. And also, the intent was that if something came in that was substantial, you can imagine, you could do $250,000 on demolition pretty fast if it's a major industrial property or something like that. So that's always, we've always kind of had that as just, as time for what we're spending every year. All right, any questions on the commission?
Just for the new members, those revenues are generated by a fee that's imposed on every single real estate recording in the county by land bank statute. So that's how we get those. That's what the revenues come.
So deeds, mortgages, anything recorded,
Refunds.
refis.
So do you have certain companies that you call on all the time to do the demolition or?
RFP, or
Okay,
oftentimes, it could be, it's a municipality, it's a governmental entity, so it follows them, those bidding requirements.
okay.
And if we own it, sometimes we'll end up taking ownership of a property. And, or it could be redevelopment authority. We tag these dollars in. And, there's often been times also, like with the Steelton redevelopment on, Front Street, where gaming dollars have come in also to match some of the demolition funds to move forward projects. It's always the toughest, no one wants to fund demolition. Demolition's always tough, but we do have a contract that Kevin's put together that requires the project to be completed, not just the demolition, but, what are you doing? And that has a time frame, that has to be completed, and if it's not, we have clawback provisions where we can pull back the dollars that we put into a project.
And we don't fund them. Right?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, that money pays, either we pay directly to the contractors or we pay reimbursement. Which is always just a good practice. Correspondence miscellaneous, any other board comments?
You guys have any questions? Dave?
Lots, but not right now.
I will say, Terry, that we gotta go back and forth, go back to redevelopment authority in terms of what seems to be, the fullest agendas right now. Redevelopment authority has been, probably a busier group. We do have the ability to do these, meetings either by conference call or I think with the technology here, we can do Zoom or whatever the streaming or whatever the technology is. So if there are light agendas, if even a heavy agenda and you want to do it from somewhere else, you certainly can. Just knowing it's a ton commitment to get here and park and pay and to come to the building. So feel free if you want to go down that path at times. Obviously, love to have you in person. Just want to put that. All right, there's no other comments. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion. Second? Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All right, we're adjourned. All right, we have about 5-ish minutes so we can start redevelopment authority.
Viewers.
Zero.
No.
That's the whole-
I don't know.
I think that was